With that, I was just like one quick announcement before we introduce our speaker of the week. You can put that away. We had the most fantastic time, the first international convention that we've been to. We learned a tremendous amount of how we, as your leaders, work for you, the club members. We listen to what you have to say. We work to make those things happen so we can have an adventurous and amazing time in our club. The one thing that really strikes me, two things happened at the convention. We had the opportunity to listen to President George Bush talk. What a terrific man and what a good talk he gave. The best part, and the one I'm going to remember all my life, was when the commentator asked him, he said, "What is the most important thing you miss as being president?" And he thought for a minute, looked up, and he said, "You know, I had to stop for 4 red lights in Las Vegas." I couldn't believe that. And then our illustrious new international president happens to be a lady from Iceland. She made the comment and really serious all the way through. And she finally got to the point where she said, "Here is a picture up on the big screen of all the presidents of International Lions. Do you notice anything missing?" Her being the very first woman that is president of International Lions, we all knew what was going to be said. And she said, "No." She said, "There's nobody from Iceland up there." With that, we had a great time. We learned a lot, and we hope to pass a lot of that along to all of you. At this time, we'd like to introduce, if we have to, George Rader, a past county commissioner, going to introduce another past county commissioner for the speaker of the week. Thank you.
Thank you, President Quinn, fellow Lions, and 3 beautiful guests who obviously look after their mom. So fortunate. It's really a pleasure to introduce our guest speaker today. I think all of you know Mike Karnofski. He's an example of the well-known adage that you can take the country out of the boy, but you can't take the boy out of Kelso. Mike's grandparents moved here into Kelso. On his mom's side, they moved to work on the Kelso, the Longview Rainier Bridge. And his parents, of course, raised and grown up here. Get that out. And Mike and his 2 boys, Adam, who lives in Seattle now, and he and his wife have a granddaughter, Mia, named age 7, and a grandson, Marco, age 5, wonderful kid. I met him. And son, John, he and his wife live in Tumwater with a grandson, Eli, age 4, and a new grandbaby, Sydney, girl, age 1. So he's lucky that his grandchildren are all on the West Coast now. It was a long commute for a while. I think I first met Mike. I may have known him sooner, but I first got to know him well at Weyerhaeuser. We worked in the same department, environmental department, and since that time, Mike has been a work colleague, a fellow commissioner, recovering politician, and a good friend. Mike, when I left Weyerhaeuser as environmental manager, Mike filled in for me. He became a new environmental manager. Then as commissioner, when he became a commissioner, he took over the EDC, Economic Development Council, chairmanship following me. And after I left the county commissioner's office, he took over the chairman of the commissioner's position following me. I know your expectation is high here, but no, I'm not leaving Lions. Besides, Mike's already a member of Kelso Rotary. But Mike and I have become good friends, and we meet on a weekly basis, at least, intentionally. And this morning we had our weekly breakfast. I said, "Mike, what are you doing at noon today?" Because I need a speaker. So he's been preparing for this for a long time. He's going to talk to us a little bit about the county landfill situation, about economic development, which he's still very active in. He's the second time around as chair. He's just finished his second term as chair of the Economic Development Council, and quality of place issues for Cowlitz County. Please give a warm welcome to Mike Karnofski.
Well, thank you, George, and it's always a pleasure to be here and see a lot of familiar faces out there. I always learn something from George, and George didn't quite tell the story exactly how it happened this morning at breakfast, but it was George's turn to pay And I did learn that there's no free breakfast either, because George started out and said, well, how'd you like to speak at Lions sometime? And I said, well, I suppose I could do that. And George says, well, maybe how about today? And since he was paying for breakfast, I decided that was the most smart thing to do is say, yes, I'll speak today. So anyway, the other thing I wanted to say is I don't see my brother Roger here, so he must have a sixth sense or something that I was going to show up. So I think next time he shows up, you ought to give him a big fine for at least not coming to hear me speak. He's always in trouble. So George said I wanted to talk about three things, the landfill, economic development, and quality of place. And actually they all fit together. And when I get done, I hope you'll understand that. The landfill's obviously been quite a hot topic in the newspaper, and I'm pretty familiar with the landfill. I managed that when I worked with Weyerhaeuser as part of the negotiations with the county, and actually was on both sides of the negotiations. But it was always the intention of Commissioner Rader and Commissioner Swanson when they went through the negotiations. They wanted that landfill to be owned by the county. They wanted it to benefit the citizens of the county, and it was always the intention that when the landfill made some money, and it has been making money, that money would be returned to the citizens of Cowlitz County for the use and the betterment of the county. George and Axel had both talked about having an advisory committee to talk about how that money could be used to benefit the citizens of the county. So the commissioners have looked for a long time on how they can return that money. It's a little bit difficult because that's classified as a utility, and so you can't just take money directly, because money that you get on a utility, whether it's your water, your electricity, is supposed to pay for that. But there are ways on how they can do that, and it's a valuable asset to the county. The county actually had an unsolicited offer to buy the landfill in November of 2015. That time I was a commissioner, and we looked at it and we said, no, we're not going to sell this. This is a valuable asset for the county. Recently, the commissioners decided they did want to look at selling the landfill. They did make the decision not to sell the landfill, and they've looked at how they can monetize it. I still favor monetizing that for the citizens of the county to return that money to the citizens of the county. But the problem with the present offer that they have received from Republic is we, the citizens of the county, lose all control over what happens at that landfill. Right now, the rates are set by the commissioners. What goes into the landfill is set by commissioners, how much, where it comes from. If the county commissioners accept the Republic offer, the first thing that's going to happen is that the rates of all the citizens of the county and all the users in the county, including our significant employers, will be stable for 5 years, and then every year after that those prices will go up automatically by a cost of living increase. There have been times in the past where the commissioners have actually decreased the landfill costs, and they still need to look at that. That's one of the main reasons why the Republic offer is bad, because Republic takes total control. Republic will also have control over what goes into the landfill. Citizens of the county won't have any choice on what goes into the landfill. They won't have any choice on how much goes into the landfill. The landfill was designed with a 100-year life. It was purchased with a 100-year life. That's still possible. But if the commissioners accept the Republic offer, the citizens lose all control. Landfill is also important for economic development. Two of the most significant employers in town, well, actually three of the most significant employers in town, are some of the biggest users of the landfill. That's Capstone, Norpac, and what used to be Weyerhaeuser Pulp and Paper is now Nippon Dynawave. Both Norpac and Nippon Dynawave have come out in opposition to the proposed sale to Republic. Again, I think there's an opportunity to look at having a third party operate the landfill, but that doesn't mean that that third party makes all the decisions, and that's what the present proposal is. The other thing the landfill does is it does help in recruiting people who may have a significant use in the landfill. I work closely with Ted Sprague on economic development, and Ted does use that as incentive for a company that needs some significant waste disposal. We have the lowest costs of any waste disposal on the west side of the mountains. We have a well-run landfill, and that landfill needs to remain under control of the citizens of Cowlitz County. And like I said, that's also important for economic development. I am on the executive board of Cowlitz Economic Development. It's one of the most enjoyable things I do, and I think one of the most important things I do is look at how we can improve the economic being of Cowlitz County. A lot of people are interested in coming to Cowlitz County. This is a good time. We have a great infrastructure. I always say that you can clearly see the infrastructure. One of the key things in Cowlitz County is it's probably the only place where somebody with a good arm could throw a rock across I-5, Burlington Northern, UP rail line, and into the Columbia River. And that's right there at Carroll's Bluff. If you got a good arm, you could stand on the east side, throw across I-5, across the railroad track into the river. And that's key to why we have an opportunity for economic development, is our infrastructure. That landfill is part of our infrastructure. Right now, there's about $4 billion in potential projects looking at Cowlitz County or in some form of permitting. Certainly, the biggest one is the methanol plant in Kalama. And there's a difficulty with large projects now is the issue with permitting process in the state of Washington. But CEDC doesn't just look at large projects. They also look at retaining the employers and the businesses we have and getting new businesses in. And many of you may not know, but they also are involved in revitalization of downtown Longview, downtown Kelso, working with also Castle Rock and Kalama. Lindsay Cope, who some of you may recognize the name, she was previously with Longview Kelso Chamber of Commerce, is the Community Outreach Director for CEDC. She's also president of the Longview Downtown Association and works with the city of Kelso. She works with them because keeping the businesses we have, whether it's a small business, a large business, manufacturing, is important to the economic health of the county. A couple weeks ago, I was at the Association of Washington Cities, and a lot of discussion about revitalization of downtown, how to keep the small businesses in downtown. One of the key things they talked about is when I was growing up, and a lot of you were growing up, the small businesses in town, they were really restricted to a certain extent by the local area. But with internet coming on, a small business can sell throughout the world. And so that means that a small business in Longview and Kelso, and we do have businesses that sell their products throughout the world. You can have clients throughout the world due to the internet. So distance is no longer an issue with how you have your business. So small businesses who want to maintain their operations and grow, they can sell throughout the world. But the other thing that small businesses need to look at is making an experience coming into that business. I think we have 3 really good examples in Longview and Kelso, and there's probably more, but these were the first that came to mind about it's not only going to the business, but it's the experience of going to the business. You think of Bob's and the seminars they put on hunting and fishing. There's an experience there going in that business. You think of Teague's Interiors. They put a lot of stuff on, so there's an experience in going that business. And in Kelso, probably not a lot of you would use it. There's LaFave's, which is a yarn and knitting shop, and there's an experience going in the business. So if small businesses don't need to worry so much about the distance and where they're located, they don't need to locate near their customers, why do small businesses locate in an area? And that comes back to the quality of place. That's occurring in Cowlitz County, where we have businesses moving to Cowlitz County because it's a good quality of place. And you can see the improvement in our downtown. That's important because we can get retailers, we can get consultants, we can get businesses moving to downtown because they can locate any place, and we want them to locate in Cowlitz County, Longview, Kelso, because of the quality of place. I think Ken speaks a lot about that, and he just had a last article in the Chamber newsletter about the quality of place for Longview and Kelso. So there are two significant quality of place issues that I have been working on, or projects. One is called R to T, and that's rail to trails. I'm working on a group that is trying to convert the old Weyerhaeuser Woods Railroad into a combination bike walking trail. We have $50,000 from the county commissioners to hire a consultant. We're negotiating with Patriot Rail, who owns a portion of that, also trying to negotiate with Weyerhaeuser to see if we can convert that into rails to trails. I don't know if you're familiar, but there's a lot of really good examples of rails to trails that add to the quality of place where people are living. There's a trail from Banks to Vernonia. A lot of people go ride that trail. There's a trail that goes from PL to Raymond. Again, people will go there and ride the trail. There's quite a few trails in the Seattle area. There's a trail that goes from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho to Spokane. These are things that people want to do. It gives people an opportunity to get out, to exercise, to ride their bikes. And again, we want a good place for people to come, bring their families, bring their businesses. The second one I'm working on is a project called the Six Rivers Trail. And that's a trail that would start at the North County line and go to the South County line. We have a group that's working on that. We have a $50,000 grant from the National Park Service. And yeah, the National Park Service does do other things besides manage the national parks. They also look at trails, other outdoor activities. We've had over 20 public meetings to talk about that, got a lot of input. Quickly, just to go down the route, and you have to sort of visualize this, but start at the North County line. It's about exit 57 on the freeway, and you go just west of that, Barnes Road, Barnes Drive comes down the west side of the freeway. We cross the freeway at exit 52. That's near the Tootle RV park. Go to the east side of the freeway, take the old Pacific Highway down to exit 49, cross at exit 49. When we looked at this, we wanted to use all county or city roads and existing trails, and at exit 49, we catch the Castle Rock Bike Trail that's on the east side of the river, so we can go on an existing bike trail to exit 48. On exit 48, you take the frontage road on the east side to get to Rocky Point, come around Rocky Point, go through Cowlitz Gardens, and then you can catch the Kelso Riverfront Trail that goes on the east side of the Cowlitz River, ride that down, that ends at Mill Street, from Mill Street to Grade Street, Grade Street to South Kelso Drive. That gets you to exit 36. You take the old Pacific Highway from exit 36 around Carroll's Bluff, get to the Clamor River Road, ride the Clamor River Road, cross the Clamor River, and then you get to an existing designated trail called the Meeker Trail that takes you into Kalama, cross the I-5 again at exit 30. You can get to the Kalama Marine Trail, down the Kalama Marine Trail to exit 27, which is Todd Road, under Todd Road, and then around Green Mountain, drop into the old Pacific Highway, and you end at the Lewis River. So the reason we chose the Six Rivers is because there's a historical book called They Came to the Six Rivers. It's available at the County Museum, and it was written by Virginia Ureta, who was a local historian. And the idea was people came to the county because of the six rivers that trail touches. Tootle, Cowlitz, Columbia, Kalama, Lewis, and Coweeman. So that's the one activity we've been working on. Again, both those activities add to the quality of place. Quality of place is really a significant decider on where people want to move, where people want to bring their businesses. and it's always good for us to improve the economy of Cowlitz County. So,
Question?
yep, yeah, so that's it. So any questions? Mark?
I know that sometimes being on the EDC board, you really can't give specifics, but can you give us an idea, are there any projects kind of in the wind that EDC is working on that may be a big benefit to the local area?
Yeah, there are some interesting projects, and some of them are similar projects to what are looking at other counties. We do have some decisions we need to make. One of them is there's people that want to place some of the large computer operations, and one of the downsides of that is they don't employ a lot of people and they use a lot of electricity, but they do make a significant investment in your city or your county. So those are some of the decisions, and so you do need to sort of pick and choose what you're going to do, but there's interest in Cowlitz County to sort of mirror what's going on in other counties. Doug? Yeah, and it's a little more than a road project. It's actually a sewer and water replacement projects, but I'll talk to the city public works director for you. Yeah.
Okay.
Hal?
I really want to commend you guys for going to purchase the landfill. I think that was one of the smartest things you can do for the county for the future. If there's any way you can convince the commissioners to keep the management the way it is, my concern is number one, the tipping fees will increase dramatically in private if a private contractor comes in. And I'm a guy who likes private contractors. You need to understand that. But I know that landfill, it takes a specific, how do I want to say, mindset to run that. And in the private sector, that is very expensive. So if there's any way you guys can influence that city tonight and commissioners, I encourage you to do that, and I support that.
Right. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
On that same subject, I find it by reading the paper, and granted that's not always true, but it seems like the commissioners are being asked not to go with the public, but they're not seeming to listen. How can we get them to listen to us?
I think the best way to get them to listen to them is to call them up, write them an email, make your voice heard.
Mike, thank you. Don't run away. Pioneer Lions Club is a family affair. If you want a picture of your brother, fill out the application and give it to Greg Fur. Join the club, and there's another beer mug go with many others.
All right.
Mike,
Thanks,
thank you.
Ken.
Take that for Rotary.
I can't imagine two Karnofskis in one meeting. Now, wait a minute. Anyhow, don't forget we have an executive board meeting up there with Vice President, Secretary, Treasurer, and President. And if anybody else wants to join in a little discussion, we need a meeting up there immediately after this meeting. Awards committee meeting right here at this table with Cindy Sessions. Make sure you all attend so that we can get these awards out and get them going. We thank you all for your participation today. We're going to try and change this up a little bit for our meeting so that our speakers have enough time to really get their message out to people. We've had several meetings where we've cut the speakers short. They didn't get their point across. So we're going to dedicate a little bit more time. Therefore, that's why I'm saying that if the tail twisters don't have their job done by 12:20, they'll get fined. Big, healthy fines. Anyhow, with that, let's start out today a little different. The food.
Well, you're going to be very happy to start out with. That's the first choice
See what you get when you're president?
And whatever's left over goes to Hal.
Make sure that.
Marty, hurry up before Hal gets back there. Okay. The white tickets. 3966. 101. Steve Johnston. The red ticket.
Money for more wax for your car.
054080. Dick, where you want it to go? Did you want that to Relay for Life? Yeah, Relay for Life. Thank you. With that, everybody, please, Pat, go ahead.
Big shout out and thank you to the rookie folks who worked their butts off both Tuesday and Wednesday night.
All right, yeah.
Well, somebody said they all worked their butts off. Were you there? How come yours didn't work? With that, don't forget to sign up. We have a lot of great activities coming up for the Lions and the community. Sign up on the sheet over there. We'd like to see it full. If not, Pat, Mike Parker, and Dick will give you a call.